Thank you so much for joining us here on XY Spark. This is your boy Rolando, your men's life coach. This afternoon, I am so excited that we have with us, believe it, we have Jeanell Greene. You know, she's a very important lady, not hard to catch up to, but I happened to just sort of bend her arm a little bit and say, hey, Janelle, I need you to come on XY Spark. And guys, for those of you who don't know, Janelle is responsible for the inception of XY Spark. Yes, because when XY Spark just began a little over 2 years ago, Janelle was one of my first guests within the first 3 months of the program. And she, believe it or not, has so much experience and expertise. But I don't want to steal her thunder so much. I want Janelle to tell you guys a little bit about what she does. Janelle, welcome. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you. That was a great introduction. I was like, wow, I got big shoes to fill here. Gotta be on my A game.
So, Janelle, tell us a little bit about your work. What do you do?
Yeah, well, to put it really simply, Rolando, is I help save marriages. And, I'm happily married, as you know. But what a lot of people
Can you say that again?
I'm happily, extraordinarily, exuberantly, ecstatically, enthusiastically in love with my husband of 15 years.
Oh my guys, did you hear that? Listen, guys, I hope you are ready for this journey. Because here you have a woman, she started on a huge platform. She's happily, did you hear the adjective that she used? So I know we're in for a ball. Sorry to cut you off, Janelle. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So, my work is really about helping couples understand that they actually want the same thing. At the end of the day, they just go about it differently. And, and it's not surprising that divorce rates are so high, because in actual fact, if we really think about how we were brought up, the trauma, the experiences, the heartache, and even just our own physiology of being human, we're not set up to win, to be in relationships, because we barely have a relationship with ourselves. And so in my work, I really bring love and compassion and acceptance into these sessions, teach them how to have it for themselves first, so then they can show up as the better partner, husband, wife, father, mother that they want to be. But it really starts here. I think a lot of people don't realize that you can't be happy in your relationship if you're not happy with yourself. And so when people say to me, Janelle, I want to forgive my partner, but I don't know how, my first question is, okay, well, what is it that you haven't forgiven yourself for? And all of a sudden it's like, they realize, and that's where the tears start. And funny enough, I love working with men. And I don't know what it is about me, but when I have these free consults with people, I usually do it privately with the husband and the wife separately. And the husband is the one that breaks down in the tears, not the woman. Because a lot of men, I'm sure a lot of your viewers can relate to this, they don't feel heard. A lot of them weren't brought up in a home that it was safe to have emotions, to be angry, to be sad, to be vulnerable, to be emotional. And so I feel like that is the first gift that I give all my clients, and saying, it's okay. I got you. I got your back. However you show up here, it's okay. I'm not going to judge you, even though you may have done some stuff in the past that is you're not proud of and you're shameful of. My goal is to get you moving forward and having the kind of life and love that you deserve.
That is powerful.
Yeah.
That is powerful. Janelle, how long have you been doing this?
Well, I've been coaching for about 5 years, and I've been coaching relationships for just over 3 years. And I use a mix of my own success that I've had in my relationship. I take on the stuff that I learned in my first marriage, because I have been divorced, and that's really where my journey started. And I also take a lot of the personal challenges that I've had in my own life. And so I feel like what makes me such a great space for people is that I'm not just this person who just wanted to do this really cool thing called fixing, helping couples, it's like, no, I've been there. I know what it's like to be cheated on. I know what it's like to be betrayed and to be abandoned as a child. All of those things that we deal with as humans, for someone to say, oh, I'm not the only one. You did that too. And you were able to find and achieve the dream, the life of your dreams. Okay, then there's hope. And I think that's really what I do, is I bring hope to people.
Wow. Wow. Janelle, can you tell us, you say you like working with men.
Hmm.
What are some of the things that you've noticed? And I think you alluded to some of it earlier, but what are some of the main things that you notice that men struggle with to have healthy relationships?
Yeah. Well, let me take it on the backside. Let me tell you a little bit about women for a second, because I think that's
Mm,
where men are missing. Because and this is, men and women are the same. Women think, we want our men to be like women, and the men go, well, I want my women to be like. I think the first step is to realize that we're so different. And I think women, especially, we try to change men. Like, we want you to be more sensitive. We want you to, like, be able to play with the kids in a certain way. And my message to women is like, he is who he is. And that's beautiful. Don't try to change him into you. Don't try to change him into a woman. You're not going to like it. Even you think you do, you're not,
mhm,
you
mhm,
know?
mhm. Yeah.
But coming back to really what women want, I'm going to
Mhm,
put it in 4 simple categories, okay? Number 1, women want to feel special. They want to feel like the light of your world, their princess, their number 1 priority. And
mhm,
that's why women get very upset when you forget to text to say you're coming home, or to say, to text to say, I love you, or, showing those little pieces of effort that say, you are my world. That's number
mhm,
1. Number 2,
mhm.
what women want is partnership.
Whew.
That's why women want you to listen. So, with women, how we bond, how we create
Mhm,
relationship, how we create connection and intimacy,
mhm,
by talking. Men, I think, are a little bit more physical. They want more physical touch. That's how you guys bond. We want to
mhm,
bond through here and here.
mhm, mhm,
And some men were not really taught by their parents. A lot of the couples I deal with, my first question is, tell me about your parents. What were their relationship? So if at
mhm,
home, when they were growing up, they didn't see love and affection and I love yous, then most likely they're not going to do that in their relationship. And so
mhm,
there's their wife saying, give me love, give me affection. And the guy's like, I don't know how. Sorry, was never taught. And so
mhm,
that's where the breakdowns. And so even though inside you love your wife needs to get it, to hear it, to feel it in her way, so that she can receive it. I think a lot of
mhm,
the things that men do, a common mistake men do, and what I hear is like, I do this, I do that for her. And my question,
mhm,
yeah, but are you there connected to her? Are you listening to her? Are you having conversation? Are you asking her about her day? Because sometimes it's not the doing that she wants. She doesn't care about the doing. She needs a partner. She
mhm,
needs someone who's her best friend, who says, can we just sit together so I can cry to you? Can I just lean on your shoulder and just have you listen to me? That's what she wants. So that, I would say, that's number 2. Number 3 is women want to give. But
mhm.
what women are terrible at is receiving. We're terrible at receiving.
What do you mean?
Women, well, we love, how we love to give, right?
Mhm,
But then we complain about, oh, all we do is give. And then when someone tries to help us, when maybe even the husband tries to help, she's like, no, 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 I can do it myself.
okay.
We're trying to be so
Okay.
independent, but
Mm.
there is a
But
cost.
isn't that the era that we're living in now? Some women believe that they're not independent if they ask their husbands to help all the time. Isn't that what we find is sort of normal now? I was in a conversation not too long ago, Janelle, and it's like society is making it appear that there's no place for a man anymore because women are independent now.
Yeah, but I think, you know what, Rhonda, honestly, I think it's BS. I think we want to feel that way, but when we get it, we're like, ew, no, this is not what I want. I do want a partner. I think it's society telling us we should be independent. And I think it's also a very fear-based mentality. It's like, I need to
Okay.
protect myself in case my husband leaves me, in case I have to be on my own. It's actually not a place of
Mhm.
love. It's
Okay.
it's fear, which we know that's not a great place to. There's no soil to have love grow in fear. Fear is like darkness and cold. Love is like soil and warmth and water. And I think we weren't taught that. And I think
Okay.
you're right. I think it's been very confusing for men. I
Mm-hmm.
for some reason I attract the alpha woman with the very passive man. And so the
Mm.
woman is the controlling one. She's the one who has to go her way or no way. And the man is just sort of like waiting for directions. And the woman is like, why aren't you helping me? You should be able to read my mind and know exactly what it is I want.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
she's emasculated him so much that he's so afraid to even do anything because he's afraid of screwing it up and making it worse
Mm.
and feeling like a failure. So then he ends up just doing nothing, which actually makes it worse.
Oh,
And
wow.
so there's this constant, you don't love me. And then this, I'm not, no matter what I do, it's never enough. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just like how I explain it to my clients. It's just like tangled wires. It's not like anything's broken. It's just just needs to be untangled. And so
How,
that's why I think some people like
how,
you and I are so valuable in these situations.
how do you work on that though? Because as you talk about that beautiful analogy, a tangled wire, how do we do the untangling? Because if you really look at it, it's definitely something that, I mean, when you look at the amount of different movements that you have now, and how there are a lot of men now who they feel really threatened, they feel insignificant, they work so hard
Yes.
to prove their masculinity to their partners, whether it's male or female. They work hard to prove their masculinity to their friends. They work hard to prove their masculinity in the community because there's this huge wave that's going on. So, how do we address that? As we talk about what women want, how do we address that?
Very simply, communication. One of the first three things I do with my clients is we talk about expectations and we talk
Mm,
about boundaries and we
mhm,
create agreements because you and I both know there is no right or wrong in how a relationship should go. It's whatever you both decide works for you, right? What works for me and my husband may not work for the next person. But it's
mhm,
all inside communication that you get on the same page, whatever that page is. For some people, open marriages is what works. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to judge you if that's what brings you both happiness and you've both
mhm,
agreed to
mhm.
this structure of your relationship and you're both happy and feel loved and
Yeah,
connected. Hey man, go for it.
yeah,
Right. But I
yeah.
think it's because we don't communicate. And so let's talk about communication. One of the biggest things that women complain about is their men don't open up. And the problem with that is we women love to make up stories and drama. We watch way too much TV and social media. And if you don't tell us what's going on with you, we're going to make some stuff up. And what we make up is pretty gnarly and crazy.
Mm, mm,
Right. But then when I have a client who's like this right now, he says, well, I don't want to burden her. I don't want to burden
mhm,
her with my problems. I said,
mhm,
yeah, but you've locked her out. She's on your door banging, saying, let me in, let me in, let me help you. We love to give again. But
mhm,
he's like, no, no, I don't want to burden her.
mhm.
So
You
she,
know, Janelle, you said something, and you know, uh, when you finish your point, I want to throw this in there. So let me allow you to finish your point. As you said what you said, something like my antennas like ding ding ding. I'm like, I have to ask journalists because I have some listeners, I have some clients who they may be in situations like these and they don't know how to get out of it. They don't know
yeah,
what to do.
yeah. Well, he kept saying, burden, burden. And I said, what makes you think that you're a burden? Has she said that to you? He says, well, no. I said, well, then where'd it come from? He's like, I
Mm-hmm,
don't know. I just feel that way.
mm-hmm,
And I don't know if you do this, but I go, okay, well, tell me about your childhood. who in your childhood made you feel like you were a burden? And it came out. It's like, oh yeah, my dad. Okay. So then I really just got him to look. You see, that was existed when you were a kid, but right, like let's look at reality right now. What is the proof that you have that you're a burden? He's like, well, I don't. Well, exactly. And what your wife wants from you is to love and support you in those times where you feel alone and stressed and you shut down. And she desperately wants to be there for you, and you're shutting her out. She's at the door going, hello, let me in. And you got the door open a little bit, you're looking at the crack, but you're not opening that door. And eventually we end up just getting tired of knocking, and then we just
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, here's my question, Janelle,
yeah.
because just recently I was talking to, a young man, and here's what's happening for him. His partner is very aggressive, you
Hmm.
know, verbally very aggressive. If he tries to express how he feels to her, her response to him is, so no, it's all my fault. Why don't you, look at yourself? Why don't you man up? And so there's a whole lot of conversations that is causing him to feel like he cannot relate to her, because then she's going to get angry and then say things to him that makes him feel like he's less of a man than he really is. How do we work with guys like these? What do
Yeah.
we say to them like that?
Well, what I'm hearing you saying is there's something going on with her that
Mm-hmm.
she feels unable to support him when he's in that. Listen, I can actually relate to this. I'm going to share a little bit of my personal life. So my husband is amazing, and he is a very sensitive soul, and we have such a vulnerable relationship. It's so beautiful. And there's moments when he just has a really crappy day, and he just tears come, and he tries to fight them, and he feels guilty and shame when he does it. But I remember in the beginning, 15 years ago, before I did any of this work, I was so uncomfortable with that. I didn't know how to be with someone who was clearly so vulnerable. And, I was also taught when I was a kid to be strong, to not show your feelings, weakness, all of that. And I just remember just being like, can you please stop crying? Like, I'm just trying to shut it down because I didn't know how to be with this. And when I really got for myself that the best thing that I can do for him so that he stops suffering is to actually let him be that. And for me to be his best friend and be like, it's okay to cry. I got your back. No problem. Let it out. But I think it takes a certain level of consciousness and awareness and a responsibility for our own uncomfortableness in allowing our part. Because at the end of the day, Rolando, I believe what is missing, if I were to just blanket what I think is missing in the world and in relationships, is acceptance. Acceptance of who we are and who we're not. And I feel like, a lot of people ask me, why is it that my relationship is the condition that it's at? And how have I been able to keep it so integrous for so long? Like, we have never had a big argument. We've never had a timeout. We've never had a, make up sex. We've never done any of that. And when I really look at, okay, what is it that's so unique about us? I think that's what it is that we don't try to change each other. We love and respect each other just the way we are and just the way we're not. And I feel like a lot of the couples, they're trying to fix and change, and they're not even feeling enough for themselves, never mind in this relationship. So we make sure that we individually are good and healthy. So then we can come together and we can empower each other to be the best version of each other. We don't expect the other to feed that to us, but we are partners. And so when he's feeling low, he brings me up. When I'm feeling low, I bring him up. So it's always this beautiful dance that is effortless because because we know and trust each other and we accept each other.
Let me ask you a question, Janelle. What do you say to a man who says, "Hey, it's her job to make me happy," or a woman who says he doesn't make me happy? Because these are things sometimes that I find people repeat a lot. Like,
Yeah.
or she says she loves me, but she's not in love with me. How do we work with a man who is in a relationship where he's been told this? Because you work a lot with men, how do you help this guy to regain his confidence? Because for a man to hear that, sometimes it breaks him, and he feels, okay, now I'm missing it, because in his mind he was providing, he was doing his best, he was trying to be a good dad, trying to be a good partner, trying to pay for the trips, whatever, take her dinner, but then all of a sudden this is what he's greeted with. How do we help men to recover from these places?
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing I would say is just to get really curious. Because you're right. I think that we do set ourselves up. You know, I I went through that too, where, especially women, right? We grew up with watching like Cinderella and all these places where, you come and get saved by this man and he's just going to be your whole world. And then you realize, like, oh, wait a second. He's only human and he can only do so much. And no matter what he does, it's never enough if I am not enough for myself. Right.
Mm.
So
That's so deep. That's so deep, Janelle. I mean, that's
I'm
so
sorry,
deep.
I can't help it. But if a guy said that to me, I would say, listen to her first of all. Get the communication without taking it personally,
Mm.
and then get curious. Oh, so here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that you're saying this and this. Okay, so please tell me, how can I support you? How can we make this work? What would really make the difference for you? Because sometimes she's saying I'm not happy, but the guy thinks that he needs to fix it.
Mm.
She says I'm not happy, but what he hears is I'm not happy with you. All
Mm.
he's saying is I'm not happy. Period.
Yes.
Okay, so what would make you happy? Is it self-care? Do you need more time with your girlfriends? Do you feel like you're always a mom? Please tell me, I want to know. But what we
Mhm.
do is we get defensive. And then we're like, what do you mean? But I do this, this, and this, and this for you. Is that not enough? But that's not what she's saying. She's
Mm.
saying, I'm unhappy and I need you to know that. And so as a
Yeah.
partner, the question is, okay, great. Tell me more. How can I support?
Mm.
Because you know what? It might actually have nothing to do with you, is my point. But
Wow.
we assume that. We automatically go to, it's my fault.
I'm
I'm doing
failing.
my job.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm failing. I thought I was doing great, but now based on this report, I'm failing. So it's hopeless. And there are a lot of men, Janelle, who, because of that, they have decided that they're done in relationships. So they become players. They're not committed anymore. They,
Out.
they, they never get married again. They don't want to have any relationships anymore. They have gone rogue, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And how do you think we can restore some sort of a hope in these men? Have you ever run into anyone like that? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, I have been known to save a few marriages. Some of them have been already almost divorced. A few of them already moved out. I had one that had been moved out for 6 months, and I brought them back together in 30 days.
Wow.
So I think, one of the things, guys, that I would say to you is careful that you don't check out, because it's
Mm.
very easy. Men go into the cave, right? They shut out the world, and they kind of just, they don't accept help. And that's, I often have that. I can hear people suffering, and I say, let me help you. And they're like, no, 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 I'm good. I'm like, no, you're not, you know? And then men think that they can fix the problem. But listen, if you've been having this issue for 10 years, chances are nothing is going to change, because you only know what you know. And so you're going to keep repeating what you know. So you need someone on the outside to come in and interrupt that vicious cycle that you are stuck in, that you don't even know why you're stuck in it.
Mm.
But I think
Wow.
for men to not check out is the biggest thing, because what happens is, as soon as you check out, the woman automatically goes, "You don't love me. You don't care. So I'm going to check out and I'm going to serve divorce papers to you." And as you know, you probably know, Rolando, divorce rates have gone up, and it's more the women that are divorcing the men, whereas 25 years ago, it was more the men divorcing the women. And so
So,
men,
guys, listen now. The word is do not check out. Do not check out. You're hearing from a relationship expert here, Janelle. She's not a new kid on the block. And she's saying if you want to save that relationship, if you still love her, don't check out.
yeah,
Stick to it, guys.
yeah. And I think too, a lot of men will not necessarily check out. They want to help, but they're so afraid to move, to say something wrong, to upset their wife. But sometimes, guys, you have to put your foot down. You have to be okay with upsetting her sometimes if it is for the sake of the relationship. It's kind of like children. If you have children, right? You're not going to give them everything they want, because they're going to become spoiled brats. Couple relationships, or anybody, is the same. you're you are responsible for the condition of your relationship. So if you keep enabling, you keep being a doormat, you keep not setting boundaries, I don't see how that's going to end well.
What boundaries are you talking about in a relationship, Janelle? Is that something you need to have in your relationship? Isn't there supposed to be a sort of a no boundary thing? What do you mean set boundaries?
I just think I don't really like using the word boundaries, but I think a lot of people resonate with the word boundary. But I
Yeah, yeah.
just
And I'm
really,
pulling your leg here because some persons hear about that. For example, the expression, what is yours is mine, and what is yours is ours, and what is mine is mine. So
yeah. Yeah, I think when I talk about boundaries, I think it's like having the conversations around your values, what your beliefs are, what are the deal breakers for you, and even training your partner. So like one of the things I do with my husband is, if I know that there's this behavior that keeps repeating itself, when we're not in upset, I will say to him, "Babe, just so you know, next time when I do this, this is why it upsets me. And really what I would love for you to do is say this or not say this or do this. Because when you do that, that really helps me out. And I really appreciate that. Because when you do that thing that really pisses me off, that really triggers me, because so then he knows exactly what I want, what I don't want, where I'm going to get upset, and so that he can take responsibility. But I think a lot of women are not, or people are not great with saying, this is what I need and want from you. These are my expectations. When I am working late, I expect you to make dinner. And I will let you know when I'm going to be working late. So we have this agreement, and there's no, oh, you're taking advantage of me, you're disrespecting me. No, we agreed to it. We both said yes to something. So there's no way that can be a disrespect, for example. It's all in
mhm.
communication.
Yes, wow. Guys, I hope you're taking notes and I hope you're learning a lot. We have Jeanell Greene with us. We're talking about what women want, and I wish I could keep Janelle for the rest of the afternoon because she has so much knowledge and her stories are so amazing. I could listen to her talk all day, but it's close to a long weekend and she has her family and she probably wants to go spend time with her amazing husband. She said it. I'm just
Yes,
being.
my 10-year wedding anniversary. My 10-year wedding anniversary is coming up next weekend. So we're going to be going
Oh,
away for a romantic weekend up in the mountains. And
so guys, that's Janelle giving us an invitation to her tent.
yeah.
Well,
You know,
Janelle,
just to summarize everything that I just said, really what women want is, we want validation. To
mm,
put it simply, validation. Validate
mhm.
that you love us. Validate that we're a good enough wife or girlfriend or mom. Validate that you care about us. That that's what we want, because women similar to men, we have this ongoing conversation that we're not good enough. And so we're
Mm,
sometimes look to our men, just remind me that I'm good enough. Remind me I'm doing right. Remind me that you love me. Remind me that you're faithful to me. And I think I would assert that men are the same way too, but I think women a little bit more need that reassurance once in a while. So, appreciation, guys, goes a long way. And when you can appreciate your wife and give her that, you know what, you are awesome all the time, she's going to more likely give back to you too. She's going to say, you know what, you're awesome too. And
okay,
then you just
guys,
keep rising.
I'm taking notes. I hope my wife is watching this. Because if she's watching it, I can guarantee you when you're done, she's going to say, "I hope you heard that. That validation. You could probably do so a little bit more there or here. But guys, listen, Janelle. Just before we wrap up, let's say one of our guys want to connect with you because we may have some viewers who are looking at us now live on YouTube. We're live on YouTube and Facebook right now for those of you who are out there joining us. But let's say one of our viewers, Janelle, would like to connect with you. How do they reach you?
Yes. So you can reach me a few ways. My website is saveourmarriage.ca.
Mhm.
And I'm also doing a communication course for couples. It's called Communicate to Connect. And I'm actually going to be teaching you how to communicate properly, basically the opposite of how you guys have been communicating in the past. So if any of you are saying, we're not on the same page, we speak different languages, I don't understand what she's saying, I don't understand why we're always fighting, this is for you. And that is happening on May 2nd and May 12th. So, but you can find all the information on my website. I'm also on Instagram and I'm also on Facebook.
Perfect. Janelle, thank you so much for
You're
being
welcome.
here and giving us your precious time. And listen, for those of you who missed the interview, we'll be posting it it will there on YouTube. You can catch it. We'll be putting little clips on our Instagram page. This is what women want. This is part 3. You can catch part 1 and 2 on YouTube as well. And we are telling you guys that we are raising the bar a little bit. We have some more exciting guests coming next week and following weeks and the weeks to come. Janelle, thank you. We just want to tell you that we invited Janelle back because guess what? We have surpassed over 10K downloads on XY Spark. Janelle started when we only had less than 100, and she came back to say, Rolando, I want to celebrate this with you. So, Janelle, listen, thank you so much for being here today. And do you have any parting words before we wrap up our interview?
Ooh,
I like to put Janelle on the spot. She never said
yeah.
that. I'll
Oh.
tell you.
Be a leader in your marriage. And when I say leader, I don't mean control. I mean, know when to step back, know when to not say anything, know when to listen, know when to have compassion, not only for your partner, but for yourself. And
Yes.
don't wait to ask for help. When you know you need help or when your wife says we need help, go get the help.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Jeanell Greene, everybody. She has given us our time. Thank you for being here with us, Janelle. For those who joined us live on Facebook and YouTube, thank you for giving us your time as well. If you need to reach out to us here on XY Spark or to connect with Janelle, please let us know. And we look forward to seeing you like, share, subscribe, and comment if you gain anything from this interview today. In the meantime, you guys take care and walk good, and we will see you again next time.